This video will be a little bit chaotic like the last ones. After this we should be able to narrow it in towards single project. The legal negotiations are not done and I haven't done the tests on the car yet. Tomorrow we will have a rust control, so I need to empty the whole van. I think I've been able to borrow a garage, but we are doing what we should do with the van life, just traveling around, training the dogs. Now we're doing search and rescue dog training. And again, just having the van, being able to change clothes inside or dress up for the weather, it's just perfect. Just bear with us that the videos are a little bit chaotic. It will improve. If you have any tips or recommendations for us to improve the videos, please do so. I'm more than willing to take good advice. And now we're going to do air scent searches with a Feynman, because we reckon that we need to go back a couple of steps. And I'm starting to love the electric door. He have been doing a Kong search. He is pretty ready to work. It's a bit chaotic here. The plan before the rust control is just to empty out the whole van and then remove the floorboards. I hope that will be an easy job. Then we can get access to see on the whole floor, and we can see if there's separation on the metal where it's point welded. But I'm ready to get done with all this stuff and get started building up the van like it should be. But still, it's been an awesome experience so far, even though we had all the issues. And just like this, all this equipment is dry from training last night. And it's going to be even better organization. It's awesome. Here in the living area, as I mentioned in the last video, all this shit going on before I can be sure that I will keep the van have actually led to some positive outcomes, because I do spend more time thinking out how I want to have it here in the car. So one of the things I came up with was the cages, because now if I open the doors, they will actually take some space in the living area, which is unfortunate. And I was like, bloody hell, how am I going to solve that issue? And the solution came to me when I was taking out my chargers. What if I can have doors like this? I think there's even some Windows covers that are like this. If I can manage to use off-the-shelf products to make a new type of cage, that would be awesome. Another advantage with this would be if the cages, like I said, I want to have opening on both sides. If I for some reason leave a door open and just smack the door, that will actually damage the door or the cages, which would be unfortunate. So being like the dude I am, I need to make everything as foolproof as possible. I have been critical towards the door or this wall, but what I see is that it saves me a lot to only need to heat this or this area. And when the dogs are dirty, it's actually really nice to be able just to close this area. I think you can buy inflatable mattresses that makes this into a bed. Because of the door, that will actually be a closed off area if I have any guests in the van, and we don't need to occupy the same space. So me or them get some kind of privacy. It's not super convenient, but that's not what this van is about. It's supposed to be a SAR van facilitating keeping canine. So the length of the car and the wall have been a concern for me, because I wanted a van with off-road capabilities and so on. Well, that's outside my budget, and how much will I be able to drive off-road anyway? And also I looked at some people living with the dogs in the van. I need cages for the dogs. I can't just have them loose in the car. The weather now is shitty. I have them in and out at least 10 times a day for training. So I need cages where they can dry up and cages that I can clean. If they were running wild in the car, it would be really messy. And it seems like the best solution is to have the cages by one of the side doors. That would mean that I couldn't really utilize the swivel seat. Maybe if I just turn it like 90 degrees, we could have a table there. I don't think it's a good solution now that I had the van for almost a couple of weeks. And And another thing I reflected upon is that, yeah, it looks cool to have everything on the outside of the doors, but we are going to use this winter, we're going to use it in shitty weather like this. I think it's way better to have like a garage area in the car, like 70 centimeters or something, as I talked about several times. Have us almost have a separate heater for that, so I can dry out the whole thing. Again, I'm dividing the vehicle up in sections, so I don't need to heat the whole van all the time. Because I think however well you insulate it, it's not going to be a house. Being able to divide it into sections, I think it's great. Also, the equipment is safer when it's inside a couple of doors instead of on boxes on the outside. I talked to some people and it's a little bit back and forth on how much stress it put on the hinges. I think it's better to just have it inside. So the length of the vehicle is growing on me, even though it's a bit challenging to park sometimes. There goes another. Oi, Birkeline! So I want to train him to do cadaver searches, and by accident I ended up throwing the Kong here. So let's take advantage of that situation. Oi, så här! Oi, oi! But this is what I want of the van life, just traveling and being able to take these opportunities. Bra, slip! Since it will draw out in time before I know if I will keep this van or not, I can't make fixed installations or investments that will only apply to this van. So all the stuff I invest in or improve in must be stuff that I can easily just take out of the van. What I reckoned here the other day is that there is one 12-volt output here in the ashtray that goes on the accessories on the car, but this big one that can pull, you can actually pull 25 amps from, and that one provides power even though the ignition is off. So I bought a 12-volt charger, and this is 95 watts, so that should easily charge my cameras and stuff really fast. I can have my Insta360 1R continuously running. That's not gonna empty the starter battery, because this van doesn't have an auxiliary battery, but that might be one of the first thing I install if I know I will keep the van. And yet again, the quad lock, I can't recommend it enough. This is the mag wireless charger. The phone sticks pretty well there, even though it's not like locked. And also, these batteries are just awesome. Goes into the same phone chargers, and it's still easy to use the phone. So I love these ones. What I would love to see from Quadlock is that they actually make a charging docking for this. So if I have 2 or 3 of these, I can just have that charging somewhere in like a dock, so I don't need to put the cables on there. That would be just great. And now we're gonna find another place to train the dogs. This is just awesome. I have everything I need here. If I'm hungry, I have food. If I'm tired, because I only slept 3 hours tonight, I can just stretch out and take a nap. It's just awesome. So definitely feeling I'm doing the right thing here. things I really love about this setup. All my equipment is here. I'm under a dry roof. I can just hang up stuff and it dries. When I had the Land Cruiser, it was a really good car, but it was too crowded, so like I forgot what equipment was wet and not. But now it's up there all the time for drying, and it just makes it so much easier to do this training.
Det er jo ikke dem som skal ta, men hva det vil koste meg å liksom få fresha det opp?